What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showcasing my internal operations to help me scale up my agency. And the last time I did this was in January 2024. I showed my ClickUp setup, but right now I'm going to be showing everything that I've worked on. And by the way, why this is relevant, this is a really cool automation that I've built that shows me the positive replies by the date filtered by the client. So I've got one client over here. If I were to unfilter this, I would be able to see a bunch of clients, and I would be able to see, like, how is this person performing on day X in comparison to another client, in comparison to another client. And when I click on any of these leads, I'm able to get the information on uh, on those leads, right? And oh, and by the way, I'm also able to actually like navigate over to the smart lead inboxes. And so let me zoom in over here. Please tell me more about the package and how. So this is honestly like a perfect example. This person told me, "Hey, I'm interested in the service, tell me more about it." And I never responded. I never responded because I onboarded three clients literally in 1 week, and I was so overwhelmed, and all of my results went down, and it was just it was a mess. It was a mess, and I couldn't scale despite the fact that I had generated tons of leads. Like, all of these leads were super qualified leads, but I just didn't follow up. I didn't do anything with them. And so this is March. This is March 2024, and currently it is May 16th. So as you can see, I've barely, actually not even barely. That's an overstatement. I've not done any outreach on Smart Lead. This person just followed up a month later, and I closed them. And I've been getting leads through warm outreach, but not really from cold outreach. Um, and I'm ready to start doing that. And how I'm going to be doing that is using my ClickUp setup. And that's what I want to be showing you guys today. So this leverages tons and tons and tons of automations. I've got 34 automations over here. I'm going to be building a bunch of them. These are all doing a lot of really crucial things inside the business. Um, like, let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. We're currently on the domains page. This is where I set up new domains, and so whenever I purchase a domain, it comes in this section over here, which is called domains purchased. And this workflow, this setup is meant to be dynamic, meaning I can purchase the domains on Google Admin, Microsoft, Mailforge, Superwave, F60 Host, different vendors, and it's all going to work together, right? So that's what I've tried to build, a system that's going to scale with whatever method I go with. And how I'm doing that is using domain groups. And so if I'm purchasing the domains myself, I'm typically not buying tons and tons of different workspaces. And so I would have these different domain groups. And so one domain group might have 10 users in it. And this is how it would be structured. Previously, you're seeing all of these are in one domain group. I used to just buy everything in one domain, in one Google admin. That's why you're seeing that. This is a Microsoft thing. I also have this Microsoft admin, Microsoft 365, so that I know the login to the admin for domain group 2 is this user right here. And in this domain group 1, I know that I've got multiple admins over here. And if I were to use Mailforge, we would have that over here, and we can have perhaps a domain group called ungrouped. And the SOPs, right? The SOPs that I have are meant to be dynamic to work with all of these different providers. And so that is what the statuses look like, and that's how I set up all of my domains. And this is an example of an SOP, right? So let's say DKIM authentication is started. Let's go ahead and click edit. We'll just do upload Google users here, upload Microsoft users here. If already added, proceed to the next status. And it's going to be already added if we're using one of these other vendors. And so a lot of the times I'm simply just moving status to status to status. Um, but that's what I'm talking about. The next thing is the client's workspace. And by the way, this is how I've got my thing structured. I've seen a lot of different setups set up in different ways. A lot of them I'm not a fan of. Let me tell you why. Some of the things that I've seen a lot of people do is using folders of different clients. And so you've got client one, two, three, four, five, six, and each client has a folder, and each folder has a list doing each different things, and you've got tasks, and like that feels like it's going to give me a headache, right? The way I've got mine set up is like this, and it's what I call a three-dimensional workspace. And so I've got one client over here. If I wanted to add another client, I would add a new client, right? I would add a new client and I would set up fields, these different fields over here. So I've got a bunch of fields. I've got a bunch more, though it does seem like it's bugging out. And some of the key fields are like this client drop down over here. Or, for example, the ID, which is the Smart Lead ID. So this is the client ID, or the Slack channel, for example, right? This is going to inform where we send our messages to. This is going to inform tons of other things. And by the way, if we go back to the sales funnel, for example, we've got that same field, which is the client. What this means is that this sales funnel task we know is linked back to this client, and this domain, and I've got a bunch of domains over here in a task. This domain we know is linked to this client. Same with the campaign, same with the playbook, same with everything, right? And so instead of creating different folders for different clients, I would rather create one list for all my clients and then link it back with everything else using custom fields like this. So why have all of this? And let's go back to the main point, right? I was unable to scale and I was overwhelmed. And I was also unable to deliver great results. So all of this, the reason why I've got all of this stuff built out is to accomplish those three things: scale easily, deliver good results, and whatever the other stuff is. Uh, so for example, right, let's look at my client onboarding process. So when we go into this client onboarding automation, it looks complex because it is, but at the same time, this is everything, right, that I do manually. So when I onboard a brand new client, I have to create a Slack channel for that client. I have to add them to Stripe, send them an invoice, send them an email, do all of these different things. I have to go into my Smart Lead account, add the Smart Lead webhooks. And by the way, like for those of you who use Smart Lead, I've zoomed in because I don't want you guys to see all my clients and all of my webhooks. But for those of you who use Smart Lead, you know that you got to create different webhooks for different clients because the association type right here is by client. The user, if you have clients, doesn't really work, and the campaigns, that's huge. That's a lot. You don't want to do that. So you want to use a client, but you don't want to have a whole SOP, a whole task system for just this process. And so this automation takes care of that for me, right? Creating folders inside Smart Lead. This is not something that many people, this is something that many people have to create manually. Smart Lead scripts to customize the application, creating onboarding docs, editing those docs, going back to the client, right? We do a lot of different things, such as oh man, I actually, yeah. Such as this, right? We create a description, a value prop, a pain point. Yeah, I'll show this, but it's so cool. I was testing out with a few of my clients. Actually, you know what? I will. Yeah, this is fine. All right. So let's do this. We use Claygent, right, to find to search the company website get a description, find their LinkedIn profiles and different things, create a description, do the same thing, create a value proposition, pain point, and then plop it in here. So each and every single one of my clients is getting one of these company description, value props, pain points. And during the customer onboarding process, we have a step here which is called modify company overview. And all I need to do is just modify this based on everything that I've learned. But what I don't have to do is do tons and tons of research on my clients just to figure out like what is their value prop, what is their pain point. Like that's already taken care of. And then once this is done, we have an automation that says create email campaigns. And by the way, like I've created other videos for this. So if you want more detailed instructions on this, just check out my YouTube channel. But we've got this campaign section over here, and this campaign section creates yeah, we could delete this one. It's not necessary for now. Maybe I shouldn't do that because I want to show you guys something. This one creates a bunch of campaigns, and so this is a campaign, for example. And in this one, I'm gonna choose a client. So let's choose a Fonto, and let's save that, right? And now all I need to do, I'm gonna get an assigned comment in just a second over here. And in this assigned comment, it says choose campaign playbook. I'm gonna choose a campaign playbook, and this is gonna be the Apollo sequence. And then we will go ahead and move it on to the next step, which is generate campaign copy. And it's going to trigger another automation, which I can show you. And this automation, which is copy, right? So generate campaign copy. It is this automation. It just ran, as you can see. And when we go back over here, we've got an email. Have you ever found B2B? Like, obviously, it's not perfect. It literally isn't perfect, right? But the point is, creating campaigns just got that much easier. So I can create like 20 campaigns like that. Like literally like that. All I need to do is literally just come up with playbooks. And that's going to be the biggest thing that I do. And so how do I scale? How do I do it quickly? How do I all of those things, man, I should have wrote them down so that I can remember them. But I just create playbooks, and that's my job now. It's just creating playbooks. As long as once everything at the top here is done and all of the operations are working really well, I just need to create playbooks, which create campaigns, which produce leads, and also have a domain system that's great. But although my domain setup is currently pretty good, though the different providers like Mailforge, those seem to be promising. I can also add Superwave. Like I said, this is built to be dynamic. And so this is my setup. This is what I've got right now, and I hope this was super helpful. And by the way, like if you watched my previous video, which is like my ClickUp setup 20 January, this one focused heavily on analytics. As you can see, I've got analytics over here. And by the way, I still got these analytics. Like this stuff, I've still got analytics like this, but that is not the focus of what I've been working on. I've been working on actual doing things, actual tasks. And I think I think this is going to make a huge difference. And so the next things that I want to work on now, I'll tell you guys just so you're aware, is managing replies. And I have a few ways I'm thinking of doing that. One of the ways is using a tool called revreply.com. Honestly, I'll show you guys that whenever I've got my stuff set up there. I'll show that to you. But I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful in showing you guys like what my setup looks like, what my onboarding looks like. I've got 34 automations, and honestly, all of them are good. Like all of them. I trimmed the ones that weren't. But anyways, this is the video. I don't want to keep dragging it. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Cheers.